Welcome to Women's Rugby Rundown 169 for August 26th through September 1st. Olympic star Ilona Maher took the internet by storm again as she was revealed as the Sports Illustrated swimsuit model for September. The Asia 7 series kick off this weekend with 8 women's teams battling for a title and a spot in the HSBC Sevens Challenger Series. This weekend also features 3 key matches: Scotland versus Wales on Friday, followed by Barbarians versus South Africa, and England versus France on Saturday. Lots of teams have announced their traveling squads for the WXV and their warm-up matches. Scotland also announced the return of David Nucifora, whose legacy in women's rugby, particularly in Ireland, remains a topic of debate. And as always, we round up all the global premier and club competitions worldwide. Get ready for the latest in women's rugby. This is your Women's Rugby Rundown, and we're about to kick off. Let's start with some sevens news, and of course we have to start with the queen herself, USA Rugby's Ilona Maher, winning a bronze medal in the Paris 2024 Olympics. That, of course, is news that we've known for weeks, but she broke the internet again when she was revealed as the Sports Illustrated September issue cover model, and my feed has been full of glorious photos of her, and just love this for the sport and love this for her. We'll do more for women's rugby than anyone thought possible. Asia announced the pools and schedule for the first stop of their 2024 Asia 7 series. Korea will September 7th through 8th, and Japan and China already in the HSBC 7 series. So we're really fighting for who's going to win the title, but who's going to get third, and look for that spot in the HSBC Challenger Series. Robbie Ferguson, who retired from Team GB Sevens following the Olympic repechage in June, has joined the Hong Kong Sevens coaching team and has already done several sessions with the women, so he'll have dual roles with the men and women's teams. In tough, rainy, and cold conditions, ASM Romnia claimed victory at the last stage of the Super Sevens competition in France by defeating Bobigny in the final, setting up a showdown in Paris this February where the top teams from each group will face off for the ultimate title. Let's switch over to 15's news. This weekend kicks off a tsunami of matches ahead of the WXV at the end of September. It all begins on Friday, September 6th, Scotland versus Wales. You can watch on BBC iPlayer or We Think Rugby Pass if you're not local. And then on Saturday, Barbarians versus South Africa. Broadcast details not released yet, but we're hoping for Rugby Pass. And then, of course, England versus France. Watch on BBC One or on Rugby Pass. We're especially excited for England versus France this weekend. It is the number 1 versus the number 4. The last time they saw each other was at the Six Nations Grand Slam decider in Bordeaux, where England triumphed 42-21, scoring 6 tries, including 2 from Alex Matthews. The Barbarians announced their squad ahead of their match against South Africa this weekend. There are 7 unions represented, and we'll see several retired players come out of that retirement to grace the pitch again. Scotland announced their 30-player squad for their autumn tests and the WXV. They also announced a new multi-year partnership with Vodafone. They've become the principal partner and backup shirt sponsor for the men and women's teams. In puzzling news, Scotland also announced the return of David Nucifora, whose legacy in women's rugby, particularly in Ireland, remains very questionable. His tenure saw significant criticism, including a letter from 62 former and current Irish players expressing no confidence in the union. This led to the RFU accepting 30 recommendations from an independent review and committing over $1 million in additional investment to rebuild the women's game. Some of the media are applauding this, but those that are aware of what happened in Ireland definitely have some puzzles. The Wallaroos celebrated 30 years since their first test match in 1994 when they faced the Black Ferns in North Sydney Oval, with Kayla Clay holding the honor of the Wallaroos cap number 1. They tapped that off this week with Joe Yap announcing their touring squad as they prepare for matches ahead of the WXV. Ireland announced central contracts for 37 players. This is across their high-performance list of work for 15s and 7s. And then they also, Scott Beamand named the 35-player squad ahead of next week's test match against the Wallaroos in Belfast. In Japan, the Pearls announced this signing of this dynamic duo. Portia Woodman-Wickliffe comes on as a player. She's played there the last couple of years. And Renee Woodman-Wickliffe will come on as an assistant coach. Now we'll switch over to Premier and Club news. 2-try center Leah Tarpey starred as 3 unanswered second-half tries secured Leinster a dominant 33-14 win over Munster, earning them back-to-back Vodafone Women's Interprovincial Championship titles. The final WPO standings are confirmed, and the WER Legacy Cup semifinals are set for Saturday. Catch all of the action live on Rugby Pass TV, broadcast done by Next Level Rugby. And in unexpected development, Trailfinders announced they had mutually parted ways with Director of Women's Rugby Giselle Mather ahead of the 2024-25 season. They then swiftly appointed Barney Madison, who's got no head coach experience, as her replacement, a decision that raised concern across the loss of yet another highly qualified female coach in the competition. Fans quickly pointed out that the Premiership had 5 female head coaches last year and now only has 2. We're a year out from the 2025 Rugby World Cup and we're losing female coaches. And not to mention that coaching women's sports is now becoming trendy. Suddenly there aren't enough fully qualified women, and we have to have men coaching in these roles. As round 4 of the Dr. Farah Palmer Cup hit the halfway point, the Premiership remains wide open, with Waikato defeating Auckland, Bay of Plenty powering past Hawke's Bay, and unbeaten Counties Manukau Heat overcoming a determined Northland side to stay atop the table. Round 2 of the Arnold Clark Premiership in Scotland saw wins by Stirling County, Christorfen, Geary, and Hillhead Jordan Hill, with Hillhead Jordan Hill leading on point differential. Also, a groundbreaking deal between Scottish Rugby and BBC Alba will see 11 Arnold Clark Premiership matches, including both men's and women's finals, broadcast live this season. That does it for us. There's lots more news on our site at yscrugby.com. And if you don't want to miss any of Women's Rugby Rundown, make sure you subscribe on Patreon, Spotify, YouTube, or your favorite social media platform.